Hello, my friends. This is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with another review. This is the Sonic Prime Chaos Sonic figure from New York City. This is actually a really cool concept design for a metal Sonic. I almost like to think of him as an amalgamation Sonic because I see elements of just about every Sonic robot that ever existed in him. We'll get into that later. The figure comes in the same blister packaging that all the other figures come in, with a glamour shot on the back. As you can see, this is the way that he's in. I do believe they will be making the Grimm version of him as well, which is basically the same mold, just with different colors. The character bio is kind of interesting on this one. A mechanized monstrosity created by the Chaos Council shows up in Drop 2 of the series to match Sonic in speed. Shows up in Drop 2 of the series. Like, why would they actually mention specifically what season it comes in? Like, you don't... the character descriptions aren't supposed to get bogged down with what season they came in. Like, this is the character. I don't know, it feels weird that you're actually referencing when he appeared in the show in his character bio. I mean, it's not like when you get the Tails figure, it says on the back of the package, introduced in Sonic 2 in 1992, Tails is Sonic's best friend and little brother figure, and it doesn't work that way. Anyway, let's get him out of the packaging so we can actually talk about the figure itself. Okay, so here he is out of the packaging. A little bit overly long in the arms, but let's talk about him before we get into all the details real quick. Chaos Sonic, like I said, does seem to amalgamate just about every feature I can think of from any Sonic robot that's ever existed. Like, this yellow stripe on his chest, along with the little jet coming out of his back, is like the original Metal Sonic. The overall shape of his head, with the way his spine pattern goes, actually reminds me of the roboticized version of Mecha Sonic from the Archie comic, which can also be said to be somewhat similar to the pattern on Mecha Sonic from the Sonic and Knuckles game. The fact that he runs on his legs instead of flying around with his jets is actually reminiscent of Pseudo Sonic from the Adventures of Sonic cartoon of all things. And, the fact that he is actually capable of talking and snarking is even reminiscent of, like, the Archie version of Mecha Sonic, the one that could talk in issue 25 and before he became Shard. So, like, just about every version of Metal or Mecha Sonic you can think of is represented in some small way here. Heck, I would even say, like, the overly long arms might even be a reference to Silver Sonic from the Game Gear games, whose only real gimmick was that he could, like, launch his arms at you because that version sucked. Of course, he does still have original elements of his own, like this, the broad-shouldered, segmented look. That's something relatively new. Although, again, I think that's a little bit of Mecha Sonic inspiration. And of course, like, having this the transparent the transparent face thing with the eyes behind it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Eve from WALL-E, but that's a pretty unique design element that's all his, and it allowed for a bit of expressiveness as he could actually just change his eyes into images to express his emotions. Something that I really missed from the Grimm Sonic version, since they were all just silent robot enemies. They didn't actually snark the way that the original one did. Really missed that. But yeah, let's quickly break down the figure. His head swivels back and forth, and it goes up and down as well. I actually really like how that actually works. Shoulders are on universal joints. They go up and down and rotate around. This is one flaw I think I have in the way the articulation works. I think it would have been better if this whole big circle was a giant joint. Because, like, the way it is here, if you pull his arm down so that it's by the side of his body, it looks like his shoulders are drooping. And when you have his arms up so that, he looks, like, strong and ready to fight, then he pretty much is T-posing. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a weird way that they realized this. I think, like, this... Like, would it really have been that bad? I have seen universal joints in a ball this size before. It's not like it's a thing they couldn't have done. It's weird to me. He has elbow joints with the built-in swivels, the same way that any of them do. Of course, since he's naturally supposed to be a robot, the joints are much better integrated. Like, they look way more natural. Hands are also on that same joint system. I like how he has one hand that's like in a beckoning posture, while the other hand is in a fist. Nothing in the waist, which is weird because this easily could have been another universal joint, same as the neck, but I guess they just didn't have the budget for that many joints. Hips are pretty freeing, like they can go forward and backwards all the way. They can go outwards quite a bit. Not quite the full JC, like, yes, the full JCVD. It just depends on which way you have them lined up. You know, they're those kinds of ball joints where you got to make sure everything is lined up properly and you get the thigh swivels lined up. Knees are the only things that aren't ball joints. They are hinges. Well, you know, they're not universal joints. Actually, they are universal joints because they do rotate. What am I saying? Like, they aren't built into spheres is what I'm trying to say. They're like cylindrical instead of spherical. And then he has ankles, which do all the ankle rocker things. Love his little high-heeled shoes. I love how he also has like the classic stripe going over the red shoe thing, except his are black. So yeah, very, very articulated, very posable, and nice and stable. I was afraid with the small feet and big head he'd be top heavy, but he absolutely is not. Everything on him works great. So let's just zoom in a bit so we can actually appreciate that Protogen face. Yep, looking very good with the angry eyes. They even got the little speaker holes in his mouth. Mouth plate, I should say. So yeah, like, this is just a really cool figure. I would almost wish that the ears would be articulated too, because it just kind of points out, but whatever. Like, I think I'd be asking for too much at that point. But yeah, like, he's very sleek. Everything on him is very accurate. He looks just like he did in the cartoon. Yeah, overall, this is a fantastic figure. It's a great figure, and it's a great concept for a robotic Sonic. Like, it homages, like I said, it homages just about every version of a robot Sonic that has ever existed, but also it kind of introduces a few new elements of its own. So, I guess the only thing now is to compare it to other stuff. Here he is compared to Sonic and Rusty Rose. I feel like if you line up their eye lines, they are all pretty much the same height, which is all well and good. But, you know, like, this is where I like I said, I feel the proportions are just a tiny bit off because of, because of how short his legs appear. Or maybe it's not even how short his legs are, it's how long his arms are. Because, like, if you look, they're way longer than Rusty Rose's arms. And, like, but then you look at Rusty Rose's legs, and her legs are so much longer. Like, the proportions are just weirdly different. That's what I'm trying to get at. So, yeah, but, you know, he will stack up well next to the other figures in the line, which is good. It's nice to have consistent scaling in your action figure line, which is very important to a lot of people, myself included. But, of course, we know that I'm not going to stop comparing him just to stuff in his own line, am I? Here he is next to Metal Sonic. Here he is next to Mecha Sonic. Here he is next to Pseudo Sonic. Here he is next to Mecha Sonic 2.5. Here he is next to Shard. Here he is next to Neo Metal Sonic. And I find it amusing that even though his eye line is way below his spine, he is still way taller because of the way his spines go. Haha. And here he is next to Archie Comics Mecha Sonic. My custom that when I made him, I accidentally built him 5-inch scale, but hey, now it means that he matches this. Yeah, and you can see what I was talking about with, like, design inspirations. Like, he has this thingy with that thingy, just like this. The elements are there. But yeah, like, there he is next to just about every robot Sonic that I own. So with all said and done, Chaos Sonic is a worthy addition to the Army Corps of the robotic Sonics. He is a damn good figure on his own, and he is great for this line. Yeah, like, I kind of wished we would have him 4-inch scale so that we could have him with the regular Jax line, because I really think that this is a real keeper of a figure. And could it work as a base for the Sonic and Knuckles version of Mechasonic? I mean, I do see some elements, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, fantastic figure. Highly recommend him. See if you can track him down. If you go to my Reddit thread, I believe you can still find where Sparkle404 posted the Amazon link to where you can order him for yourself. Otherwise, good luck finding him in a store because the wave is showing up in Targets. It's just that it sells out really fast. But thank you all for watching this review. And this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.